Hello, time travelers, and welcome, new time travelers. As always, if you're new to this channel and enjoy learning about history, one event at a time, not only from the US, but also from around the world, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into it. Today, we're going to start out in 1810 when American showman P.T. Barnum, who with James A. Bailey made, or P.T. Barnum, who with James A. Bailey made the circus a popular and gigantic spectacle in the United States, was born. Uh, 49 years later, in 1859, Captain N.C. Brooks discovered the Midway Island in the Central Pacific Ocean and claimed the territory for the United States. 6 years later, in 1865, the U.S. Secret Service began operation under the Treasury Department to aid in the prevention of counterfeiting. 1946 is when the first bikini, designed by French engineer Louis Renard, made its debut in Paris. The swimsuit was named for the Bikini Atoll, which just days earlier had been the site of the world's first peacetime atomic weapons test. Passed on this day in 1950 by the Kaznet, the law of return granted Jews the freedom to immigrate to Israel and receive immediate citizenship. But it proved controversial when the question, "Who is a Jew?" raised other issues. 2 years later, in 1952, both houses of U.S. Congress gave final approval of a $76,849,392 legislative appropriation bill, with rider allowing members of Congress to deduct for federal income tax purposes $3,000 of their living expenses in Washington. 2 years later, in 1954, American singer Elvis Presley recorded "That's All Right," which became his first hit and helped give rise to rock and roll music. In 1962, Algeria officially gained its independence from France, which had declared the African country independent 2 days earlier. Moving on to 1969, when Rolling Stones played a free concert in London's Hyde Park. 2 years later, in 1971, the 26th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution was certified, granting suffrage of citizens age 18 and older. On this day in 1975, Arthur Ashe defeated Jimmy Connors in 4 sets of tennis in the 89th Wimbledon Championships. Moving on to 1977, when a military coup in Pakistan, Zulfikar al-Bhutto, the very first elected Prime Minister of Pakistan, was overthrown. 1985 is when Nicholas Mark Sanders of England begins circumnavigation of the globe, converting 13,035 road miles, covering 13,035 road miles in 78 days, 3 hours, 30 minutes. Now, in 1989 is when the first episode of Seinfeld, then called The Seinfeld Chronicles, aired on NBC, and the sitcom later became a landmark of American popular culture. I've seen part of that TV series. I did not like it at all. I couldn't get into it at all. That's just like the Big Bang Theory. How people say that they like the Big Bang Theory and that they would recommend it. I can't get into that. In 1996, Dolly, a female Finn-Dorse sheep, was born near Edinburgh, becoming the first successful clone mammal. Her birth was not publicly revealed until the following year. 2 years after the turn of the century, American baseball player Ted Williams, who was the last player to hit 400 in Major League Baseball, died in Inverness, Florida. Now, I'm not into like baseball that much, so I have no idea what that is. And finally, 2009, Swiss tennis player Roger Federer won a record-setting 15th Grand Slam single title as he defeated Andy Roddick at Wimbledon Championship. And with that, we return to 2024 and our current history. I'll see you all in the next one.